Welcome to Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Living the Dream, a show that celebrates ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Hear what motivated them to attain their goals, see which circumstances molded their character and turned them into everyday heroes. Learn more about this show and the hosts for Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod TV and radio on Facebook. Now here are your hosts, the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Lori Boyle.
Our guest today is Alex Stephen. He has graciously come back to talk to us. I'll introduce him. When Alex and his wife Roz found out that their one-year-old son Larry was profoundly deaf, they made a decision that would change their lives and shape their destiny. Having only very limited treatment in their home country of Trinidad, the Stephens immigrated to the United States to give their child the best possible opportunity to become a successful and independent adult. Alex and his family faced and overcame many challenges in their lives. Through their love and commitment, they turned tragedies into triumphs. Alex now draws on his lessons and experiences to help others. Today, he lives his passion by helping people transform their lives, guiding and empowering them to reach their goals and fulfill their purpose. He helps his clients to identify their pain, accept where they are, and create a plan to get them to their desired outcome. Alex and his wife Roz and their children, Larry and Charisma, wrote their first book, Courage in Our Hearts, a family's love story. Alex is an author, speaker, transformation coach, and TV personality who has created books, CDs, workbooks, podcasts, and videos. He strives to elevate everyone he meets. His life is truly an example of how to live your purpose and create a legacy. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks very much.
So glad to have you.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy
and
to be here.
in part one, we talked about Larry's earlier years and how Alex uprooted his whole family from Trinidad and moved here to the United States to get Larry the best possible treatment because they found out when he was one that he was deaf, profoundly deaf. And so in part two of this show, we're going to be talking about Larry as an adult and what it was like growing up with siblings who were not deaf. So Larry, tell us, give us a little rundown again on how important sports were to Larry when he was a child or when he was 11, and how it kind of built his character.
Yeah, Larry, like I said in this first segment, Larry loved sports. As a child in Trinidad, he moved when he was 4. His grandmother's house, I remember, he will sit down on Saturdays or lie down, watch any sports. Give him his food there, he'll sleep there, and that's all. He just loves sports. And I remember him calling me one day when he was older in the States, and he said, "Come and see the best basketball player ever." It was Michael Jordan.
Oh, really?
He identified him early, and he could still do that in any sports that he's following.
Really?
So he loved sports, and he excelled in soccer. You know, he played Division I club, varsity, NCAA. He represented the United States, the red, white, and blue, in the U.S. Deaf Olympics in Italy. So he loves sports. He coaches. His daughter, Ravina, or granddaughter, is playing also. So sports very, very important to him, and it molded him as a, you know, in his teenage life. He stayed away from trouble, so to speak, was focused on being on his teams, doing well, excelling. Some of the coaches said he was too hard on himself. He did well, and he still wanted to do better. That was a work ethic he had. And sports really played an important role in his life.
Now, we don't want to leave Charisma out.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about her and what it was like for her to have a brother who was deaf.
Well, Charisma was born on 1/1/81. That was just after we made the trip.
Oh, the one child, all the ones, that important number, 1111.
Yeah, she came, you know, like I said in segment 1, my wife, Roz, was pregnant with her when we brought Larry to the United States for testing. And as we went back, and I said, you know, she was like an angel and a breath of fresh air. And God gave us a second miracle in Charisma. And she learned to sign before she could speak because she was always with Larry. Always with Larry. And She supported him through the years, and Larry doesn't like this, but she says, I'm his big sister, because she always thinks she has to be there to protect him and, you know, interpret for him at his games.
Well, give us a story of how Charisma actually came in and was the protective angel, the guardian angel. And that's probably why she came down. She said, you know what? I'm going to come down as a guardian angel for my brother from a previous life, and I'm going to take care of him again now. He took care of me before. This time it's my turn.
And, you know, they always look out for each other, but she's, you know, I remember in Gallaudet at Kendall, and she's be playing with the kids and signing and everything, and everybody thought she was deaf. She never will speak. And then she will say, Monday, I want to go to Larry's school. She was so close, always so close to him, and when we could not make it to his soccer practices, even for varsity, she will go and sign, and she's 2 years younger than him, so there are big kids there, and you know, even the club teams, so she always there for him signing, looking out for him. And Larry said in his chapter, Encouraging Our Hearts, where he wrote on legacy, Charisma wrote the chapter on family. And Larry said Charisma was the bridge to the hearing world for him.
Oh my goodness.
So
Charisma was the bridge. His sister was the bridge.
to the hearing world.
Oh my
for him.
goodness.
So that's how
beautiful.
that's how important a role she played in our family. And she does live up to her name, Charisma.
Oh,
She's
does
full
she?
of it.
I'm sure.
Her middle name is Charlene, which we name her from a parang singer in Trinidad. And she has a degree in music, a minor in business.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
God has blessed us with a wonderful family. And you know, all the things we went through together.
So I know in part one of this show, we were talking about how when you went to the airport in Trinidad and you were getting ready to leave to come to the United States, you had a family member who I know was doing this out of love, said, I will come back and pick you up here in a year because you're just not going to make it. And you did. So now when you go back to Trinidad, do you ever see the same family member with all of your successful children and Larry?
All our family members supported us. None of them ever said anything, you know, like you will not make it. They'll say, well, you know, it's tough. They try to remind you. I know my brother-in-law said something that I remembered, and it was motivation to me. And we were talking about the challenges that, you know, to get in school, the money, you know, the unforeseen. And he said, I'll tell you one thing, it will not get easier. So those are the kinds of things. The person who said this in the airport was not our family.
Oh,
he was
wasn't.
supposed to be a friend. You know, he didn't say it out of love. So,
okay.
so but it helped us. So.
Yeah, it
But
did.
it
It was that
motivated you
motivation.
He helped us without knowing that he did. So everybody have their part to play, their role to play in our lives.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
do Larry and Charisma love Trinidad when they
Oh
go
my
back? Do they
God.
love it?
They cry when they coming back to the States.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
gorgeous.
cry because their grandparents, their cousins, their aunts and uncles, the love they get. And Larry said this in his wedding speech. He said it in the book. He said, I grew up around my extended family. They came here, I went home. We used to send them home for summers, couple summers, so we could work when we were in school. And he said, nobody treated me like if I was deaf. I mean, that's powerful. In some other families, they say, oh, that's a deaf kid. He was always, what do you want to eat? What do you like? You know, nobody ever showed him any, you know, like, because of his disability. And he said that in his wedding speech. And he said, the man I am today, my parents and also my extended family made me the man I am today. And he acknowledged everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing because we went from this 11-year-old boy who wanted to be on a team, and he was being held back because he was deaf. And then he goes on to get all of these degrees. He grows up, he gets married, and you now have grandchildren.
One granddaughter.
One granddaughter. And so how does he cope with being a parent now? How does that work?
Well, as he said in Legacy, when he wrote, he said it's a new chapter in his life. You know, it's something new. He grew up as a teenager. He was single. He met the love of his life, and he knew right away, like I knew when I met his mom the first time. And my wife told him, "Oh, you're your dad's son. You guys are the same thing." And he's loving it. You know, they have their own house, going on 5 years now, and he and his wife, they do repairs and redesign and do things, you know, so that they could see. They break down walls, cut down trees, and redesign things. So he's loving it and
great.
really enjoying his daughter, and hopefully we'll get more.
And what's his daughter's name?
Ravina Jasleen Stephen.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful name.
Yeah,
What a
Ravina,
beautiful name. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? That
Yeah.
that it's like we're sitting here going through his whole life and seeing that it is a rich life. Despite a disability, he is rich.
Actually,
He's
that's
rich.
really what made his life so rich,
Yeah.
is that experience.
Yeah, exactly.
In a big part, wasn't it?
Big part. And he said, you know, and we recognize this, that him being deaf, it brought us closer together. We had to be at his games. I'll interpret for him, or somebody in the family, you know, my
Yes.
wife or my daughter will be there. We'll go to all their away games when they have tournaments. So it brought us closer together. And so it's been a good journey. It's been a good journey to see where we started, you know, the things we went through and where we are now. You know, Larry having his own home, he's a college professor, you know, he's still involved in soccer and just enjoying family life with his wife and daughter. And his wife, Amit, is from Singapore, and she has a master's also, and they went back a couple of times to Singapore.
So education's always been very important in your family.
Always important. My mom used to always tell me, that's one thing no one could take away from you.
Yes, that's
And
right.
we emphasize that. And but the kids got it because, you know, my daughter told our pastor when he was home for dinner once that, well, I didn't know I have a choice. He was asking her if she wanted to do something. She said, I didn't think I had a choice. I thought I had to go to university because that's how it was. You know, they grew up with us in school, going to school full time. So.
That's
Well,
right.
and education gives you freedom to make
Yes.
choices. When you don't have an
Exactly.
education, you don't always have that freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Now, but this is all dovetailed into a new thing for you. You're doing your own
Yeah.
show on public access
Yeah.
television. You're a motivational speaker and an author. So tell us about that and how that's going.
Well, we started off, how it all started, I had no intention. I was in business finance. I was a corporate lender, vice president, director, and, you know, coming from the finance world, that was my life. And I went to this conference in Hawaii, thinking I'll be in direct sales with that company, and I got the opportunity to speak impromptu on stage to 1,500 international people.
Oh my goodness!
And
Is
here I
that
wa-
your first speaking engagement?
Well, first, talking to a large crowd
my
like that, and I
goodness.
wasn't trained as a speaker. I spoke in the bank and at events, you know, 50, 100 people, business. But this is my personal story, and they said, okay, and I wasn't in the first 7 chosen, and someone said, you need to get on stage. And that's a different story, but I did get on stage, and you know, so I told my story in a few minutes, impromptu, and people were crying. People came up to, I was an instant celebrity at the luau, or what they call it, that night in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Everybody's lining up to talk to me. You got to write a book. You have to speak. I was like, what are these people talking about? I'm a commercial lender. I lend money. I don't know about speaking and coaching. So that's how it started. Like I like to say, it evolved. In this boot camp in Florida, Raz and I decided, after talking to a few experts, that we'll start deaf parenting. And that's how we came up with this, which is Unimaginable Miracle, a family's journey with a deaf child. So we have it on audio and also on PDF, where we tell our story. Basically, then as we were sharing the story, the feedback we got is that people, I don't have a deaf child, I'm not married, I do not have a child, but your story is impacting my life.
Oh.
So then we changed into life transforming treasures, started to get coaching with Les Brown, and work with people like Vincent Toran, who is still our mentor to this day, and started to build around the blogging, doing podcasting, speaking on stage, and now we have 4 books. And this here is our first book, Courage in Our Hearts, A Family's Love Story. The foreword is by Les Brown. And everyone in the family wrote a well, the kids wrote a chapter each, and Raz and I wrote the book. And talking about synchronicity, yesterday Oprah got a copy of our book. So this book is in Oprah's
goodness.
hands.
Oprah, are you listening?
So, yeah.
Great.
So it's in Oprah's hands, and we're waiting on her call.
And I'll bet you're going to get it.
Yeah. And the other book we have is, which is
Beautiful.
an accompaniment to Courage in Our Hearts. It's
I love these
Discover Your
covers.
Inner Treasure. And this is an action guide that goes with Courage in Our Hearts. Or it could be independent. And good things in here.
What do you mean
to-
by an action guide?
Action guide, so it has questions and
Oh, okay.
reflections
Oh, it's
and
like a workbook.
a
So you're gonna f-
workbook.
yeah, you're gonna feel
so
stuff
to
out.
help you, to help
That's
people.
wonderful.
Yeah, and I put together the Inspirational Life Quotes, a collection for your daily motivation, which is for 365 days a year.
Oh, fantastic.
I love what you've got here. Discover your inner treasure.
Yeah.
Goal setting is a powerful tool that can motivate you into making your why a reality. And then you've got a page to set your goals.
Yeah.
I happen to be a goal setter. I
Yeah.
set lots of goals.
And the latest one we wrote is IEP Goals Made Easy, and IEP stands for Individual Education Plan. And this is from our experience and some of the, things that happen to us without being prepared. And we want to help parents who have a special needs child to navigate through this. It's a maze. But you have to be an advocate for your child. And we incorporate a conversation that we had with the Director of Special Needs in Marlborough. So we have expert advice and our personal experience.
No, tell us again what IEP means. Because-
Individual Education Plan.
Okay.
And this is our daughter Ravina here on the cover. And she's also on this one here on the cover. This is Ravina also.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cutie pie.
Yeah, and we've been featured in, this magazine also. So we have, so in addition to the books, and what I like to do on the shows is, give something to the audience for free, and you could go to my link, www.nextlevelriches.com. It's a free 1-hour webinar where we give some hints on commitment, some tools on commitment, on legacy, and gratitude, and how that could help you in your journey. So people could go to nextlevelriches.com.
That is wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your TV show. You've just renamed it to Make a Commitment. Is that correct?
No, the show is Live Your Passion.
Oh, Live Your Passion.
Yeah, Live Your Passion. The first segment here, I think we said. Live
Yeah.
Oh,
Your-
is Make a Commitment.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
live Your Passion at Medfield TV, and that's something that I do, and you were on my show.
Yes, yes, I was. Synchronicity.
And talking about your book, and what I do on the show is really bring people who's been through some challenges in their life. So we go through the how they came through that, and where they are now. So people who are looking may not have gone through the same experience, like let's say grew up in an alcoholic home, but they might be going through something with a work situation or a relationship that they could use the nugget. So that's
Right.
what we do on the show, on that show. Yeah.
So in accomplishing your life purpose, you benefit not just for yourself, but you also benefit for your audience.
Yes.
You are like a shining light to them.
Yeah, and I like to elevate everyone who comes to me, who comes in contact with me. And the funny thing about the transformation coaching that I do, I had no plans to do that. We were setting up the website, the marketing, and because I do speaking, trained through Les Brown, so I do motivational speaking to groups and corporations. And one of my mentors said, "You should coach, be a life coach." I said, "No, I don't want to be a life coach." He said, "But from hearing your story, from growing up as a teenager, you're giving people advice and they're getting results."
Yes.
So I started to look back on those stories, and I say you have to do it, not just as a business, but think of it as the people who are waiting for you
Right.
to help them. And that changed my mind. So I got certified. I'm a certified life coach. And, you know, he said, you transform people's lives. And that's what I tell my clients, that when I coach you, I'm not improving your life. And they're like, what? I say, I am transforming your life. I'm turning it right around. And on my website, alexstephen.com, you could go, you could see the testimonials I have, the people that I've coached, and
Right.
some of the things that they have said.
So part of what I hear you saying is that when you live your life purpose, you're not just doing it for yourself.
You're not doing it
You're
yourself.
really
Yeah.
doing it for other people,
Yeah.
your loved ones, the legacy that you leave when you leave this world. And
Yeah.
it's for everybody else as well.
And we tell people, Raz and I tell people, you have people looking at you. You're a mentor and you don't know it. Your kids looking at you, other people looking at you. So you have to know how you conduct yourself. You may not be, per se a mentor, but people looking at how you conduct yourself.
Yes.
And your children especially.
Right.
And, this is one of the things I say.
You're a role model.
Yeah, right. You're a role model. And as you do things, that's how and Larry and Charisma say that all the time. That they look at how we did things, and that's how they pattern their life. Yeah,
Well, it's not a bad pattern.
it's not a bad pattern. And like you said, impacting everyone. The children are all involved in the business.
Yeah.
And the people I coach, the gratification I get is when they get the results. And I had one, I'll give one example of one of my clients. And when she came to me, she said, my life is miserable. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in this job 22 years. So I said, what do you need from me? She said, well, I like your quotes. I put a lot of quotes on Facebook, and that's how I
your
came
quotes?
up.
Yeah, I
with
love quotes too.
Right, with inspirational life quotes.
Yeah.
That's how I decided to do that. And so I said, okay, what is you want? I want my own business. I want to be independent. And so she signed up. She was my client, and we had our sessions. And so she wanted like a business plan, what I should do to get. And I said, you don't need a business plan. She's like, well, that's what I'm paying you for. I said, you don't need no business plan. I said, you need gratitude and forgiveness in your life. And she's like, excuse me? I say, if you have that in your life, the business plan will come, the opportunity will come. She was a single parent, admired. She came from South America without even knowing how to speak English. And she navigated her way in this
Oh, my
country.
goodness. Yeah.
And amazing story. And that's why I told her when she told me her story, I said, I want to coach you. Even if you can't pay me, I'll coach you. Because I knew she was she was on to greatness. And she fought me on that for a little while. Then she called me and she said, Alex, I need to speak to you. I've been experiencing miracle after miracle. I did what you said. I sat down home and I forgave my dad, who was dead for 16 years. Because I told her, I said, do you think he's been affected if you mad at him? He's dead. Her mom, they didn't have a good relationship for 30 years. And she started to see things opening up for her. I said, that's what you need. So the power of gratitude and forgiveness. So if I could tell somebody that by coaching them or giving them the advice, I feel really gratified about that.
Imagine how many people are actually affected by the way they were raised, their parents.
Yeah.
And sometimes not being able to let go after they've died can actually hold them back. So by using that forgiveness, it's a type of freedom. You free yourself from those thoughts and emotions you have from when you were growing up. They're not doing you any good if they're negative.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the question, how did all these experiences affect your spirituality? How did this all tie into the spirituality in your life?
I grew up spiritual, I should say. Our family very, in the church sense. And, I think through the years, doing the personal development and getting more, I've become more spiritual, not just in religion, but more conscious, you know, like feeling people's energy, and your intuition is stronger, and, you know, you get certain messages. So it increases, especially when you do like Qigong and these sort of meditation. So it has, I'm on a different plane. And the reason I like to say that is because here I could help more people.
What do you mean by messages, though? How do you get them in dreams or meditations? Where do they come from?
When I'm meditating, you get a message, but I get messages in dreams. I get visions, and it's funny. Sometimes my wife will be downstairs drinking her tea, and as I walk downstairs, she's like, "So what did you dream last night?" Because she doesn't remember her dreams. And then we sit down and talk about it, and I'll tell her, and we try to interpret it, some of it. But yeah, I do get messages. I do get in my dreams, and sometimes just intuition, and I'm walking down on something, and I see different things. Like sending my book to Oprah. I had one friend that I did on my TV show. He survived cancer 3 times, and he was telling me like, Alex, you gotta get your book to Oprah. Then my mentor Vince came back from South Africa speaking with Les Brown, and then he was telling me, I went to an Oprah event, and while they were there and people were talking on stage, I saw you with your book. Then I went to church, and my pastor on Sunday morning mentioned Oprah. I said, you know what?
That's what's happening today. I guess we need to send that book off.
So that's the kind, that's, I think, the spiritual level I'm at now, where I give and receive.
Well, I want to see if that validation comes through where, you get that phone call.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for.
And I told Vince, I said, while you were telling me that, I was autographing the book. I was. Right away, I said, look, I'm not waiting anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I love this book of quotes. You have one for every day, as you say, and this one's from Maya Angelou, and it just reminded me of like you coming to the United States and what you had to face. This says, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope." That's Maya Angelou.
I love that. That's
beautiful.
Great.
That's a beautiful
It's true.
quote.
And it kind of sums up your whole journey.
Yes.
Right.
It jumped over
It certainly
fences.
does.
It did not take no for an answer.
Yeah. you gotta have love, you gotta have respect, you gotta have faith. Great things happen when you're committed and persistent.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely true. So we have had Alex Stephen with us for part 2, and we're so glad that you joined us. Be sure to come back and watch Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod at our next session. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Lori Boyle and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos on Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod. Don't forget to like us on Facebook for our show updates, and join us next time when we showcase more everyday heroes.